It is a Wednesday, and we're going to be talking about UCLA football, the Wizard of Brentwood, or we're talking about Brentwood today. And boy, oh boy, this is a bombshell. This is a shock. This is crazy. Chip Kelly predicted by 24/7 Sports to be fired at the end of this year. Now, Chip Kelly, we all know what he did at Oregon, and we all know how successful he was. Chip Kelly kind of reinvented himself when he went back to college from the NFL and really built a defense-laden team, like a really good defense. He had DTR at quarterback. I think they won 7 games, 8 games, 9 games. And then this year, I know that they lost a poor football game. I know that Dante Moore's been kind of banged up, and I know that they lost a couple of bad football games, to Arizona, who's really good, and then the Arizona State came in there, and Arizona State was really a really tough loss because that's a team that's like a 3-win team that's starting their 4th-string quarterback. But until then, they went to Stanford, they played well. They beat Washington State at home. They went to Utah and did okay. So, I still think that this defense is pretty nasty. I still think that this program was kind of headed in a really good direction. I know that they should have beaten Arizona State. So right now they should be 7-3 on the season. They were just in the top 25, a couple of weeks ago after they beat Colorado. Just a couple of weeks ago, they were 6-2. They were in the top 25. They have defensive linemen that are going to the NFL. When have you ever said that about Chip Kelly, that he has defensive tackles and defensive ends going to the NFL? We're going to see UCLA play USC. And, now they happen to announce that their coach is going to be fired. But still, I thought that UCLA's defense would pose a great threat to Caleb Williams and USC. I think UCLA is actually the better program or the better team at this time than Lincoln Riley. So UCLA has always been the little brother of USC in Los Angeles. I know that they had Jim Mora. They had a couple of other guys that were coaches. I think Neuheisel. They were always like a 6-win, 7-win team, and now they're going into the toughest conference in college football, and you happen to have a coach in Chip Kelly who stayed there a pretty long while. So I'm really surprised. This is a program that was 6-2 this year. This is a program that seemed to be trending in a really, really good direction. And Chip Kelly, I think he knows how to coach football. I think he's adapted. What he did with Dorian Thompson-Robinson, that kind of offense, and now what he's doing defensively, he's showing you versatility that he can win in a multitude of ways. So I'm really surprised. He has the program in a solid spot. Like they're projected honestly to go 8-4. They're going to play USC. They were going to play Cal. If they didn't lose that game to Arizona State, which they shouldn't have lost, then they would have won 9 games again. And you're UCLA. So you're winning 8 or 9 games. Why are you making this decision? It seems like a rash decision. Okay, from the football point of view, because you're UCLA and you're kind of building something here with Chip Kelly. So this guy has kind of risen your program. You want to leave a program better than you found it. It was found in, whatever. And the fact that Chip Kelly came back to UCLA and he's doing these things at UCLA and they're winning battles like for Dante Moore. Just because you have a couple of bad games, I don't really see the rationale. If I was the AD, I don't see the rationale in firing Chip Kelly. I think he's done a solid, good job. It's almost like Ken Dorsey, the same kind of way. So there's impulsive firings that do exist, and this could definitely maybe qualify as one. So here's my theory. My theory is, and again, this is actually through listening to a couple of people that are familiar with the situation, this is what is going on here with Chip Kelly. But I just want to I'm going to read you Chip's resume at UCLA. So Couple of things here. They have an AD that got there in 2020. He was an AD that I believe was at like Wake Forest. He comes from North Carolina. Believe his last name is Dormand. And this is a guy that, had to inherit the Chip Kelly approach. So Chip Kelly, the thing is about UCLA is that funding for NIL, and even though they got Dante Moore, they still feel like UCLA is on the precipice, could potentially be yielding in big dollars. And Chip Kelly has always been kind of a quiet person. Even when he socializes with boosters, he really doesn't prefer to do it. He is, at times, people have described him as a little bit reclusive publicly. And they want someone at UCLA that's going to ham it up with people. Now, Mick Cronin kind of seems that way, but Mick Cronin's actually kind of outgoing if you get to know him. Chip Kelly seems like if you get to know him and get to trust him, he seems like a guy that is perfectly fine to talk to you. But people have said he's very difficult to work with. So there are a lot of arguments about Chip Kelly and how he might not be the easiest coworker to work with. And, in Philadelphia or even at San Francisco, really in Philadelphia, he didn't get along with people in the front office. He rubbed players the wrong way a lot and was just considered very strict, kind of robotic and not very loose, and just not a fun hang for the boosters, and not very transparent at all. So Chip Kelly at UCLA, listen, they had the COVID season, 3-9, 4-8, 3-4. But then guess what happened? And that COVID season, the Pac-12 didn't even really play a ton of football that year. Then they went 8-4. And then 9-4 with DTR, including a couple of very, close losses. Then this year, they're breaking in a new quarterback, a new offense, really, because DTR is one of the best quarterbacks to ever play at the school. He just is, and statistically he is, and now he's actually going to be a starter in the NFL. He's been a backup for a while. Because of an injury, he's going to start. So you lose that piece. That's huge. And then this year, they happen to go 6-4. He happens to hire Anthony Lynn's son, who, was an assistant, I believe, with the Buffalo Bills. And Chip saw the foresight and the talent, like, hey, I'm going to sign now this defensive coordinator, Danton Lynn. Now, I really believe, guys, that it's like Gail Bedecker and Jesse Pinkman here. I'm not saying that that Danton Lynn is I'm not saying that he is, Gail Bedecker, and that he has this this evil side to him where he wanted Chip Kelly to get fired. But, listen, if you gave him truth serum, does he want the head coaching job? Sure, Danton Lynn's going to say yes. And Danton Lynn has been the most impressive assistant, not only on UCLA staff, but in the country. And he's going to get actually probably Power 5 to maybe group of 5 to maybe some Power 5 offers. I really believe Danton Lynn, not only because of his dad, that's a convenient talking point, but because he's been incredibly, incredibly successful. And guess what? Newsflash, having a father that is a really solid offensive guy and a guy that's been a head coach in the NFL, like, that doesn't hurt, to grow up in a background. And Anthony Lynn, his father, is as respected in the coaching industry as there is, such a stand-up guy. And Danton, like, I'm going to be happy for him if he gets this opportunity. But also I'll be sad for Chip Kelly, because I think that he's done a really nice job. He's elevated the program. He's built the program. Who has a better future heading in the Big Ten play? When you watch UCLA play this year, you'd think that the average person would think UCLA is Chip Kelly. It's, hurry up offense. It's 24/7. It's we're hiking the ball. We're going tempo, fast. No huddle. No, he's what is the word? Evolved. He's evolved his game now to being a guy that's really innovative with run schemes, that slows down the pace, and that has really developed a more physical defensive team. So he's in the middle of a transition here as he's going into the Big Ten and turning his team from really, basketball on grass or a Ferrari on grass, which is exactly what Lincoln Riley is, to actually building substance on defense, which is not what Lincoln Riley's done. So, I mean, overall, people view Lincoln Riley and Chip Kelly like Lincoln Riley is just this absolute just power of a power coach, and they view Chip Kelly as a failure in the NFL and a guy that the game's passed him by since Oregon. But meanwhile, he's taken UCLA that really had no history and that was really struggling when he got there, and he's putting them in a much, much better position. Now, if Danton Lynn is hired, right, I think that UCLA could still be pretty good. If Jonathan Smith goes to UCLA, I actually think that you're going to see, at best, you're going to see lateral success. At best, you're going to see 8 or 9 wins. Now, here's the thing. So, Jed Fish, Danton Lynn, Jonathan Smith. I think it's going to be Danton Lynn. I think he's going to be elevated here. Now, Danton Lynn might be a better. The only way that UCLA gets off the ground, the only way that it's a better job is if Danton Lynn is just an incredible, incredible recruiter. If whoever comes in there goes and freaking it takes off with relationships and recruiting. Because you could probably beat Chip Kelly pound for pound maybe with getting 5 stars. That's the one thing that you could say about Chip Kelly, and maybe booster support. So maybe you can get NIL, because Chip Kelly doesn't want to play that game. He just wants to mostly just coach up football. And he is a good developer of talent. He is good at developing talent. But in terms of generating like the 5 stars and getting the splashy guy, the splashy recruits, I don't really think Chip enjoys doing that, and that's maybe what the athletic director is seeing. So I think that Chip Kelly's like a very, very good coach. Is there a way that UCLA can actually become better from this? Yes. But the odds of that happening are no. The odds are that actually the athletic director could end up getting fired and you could take a step back, and you're entering into a new league. I don't know why you want to keep Chip Kelly. And if you're a program like Arkansas, you really have to look at Chip Kelly, because Chip Kelly's going to, I think, bring you a lot of expertise, with developing talent. And Chip Kelly actually stayed there a good 7 or 8 years, so it's not like he's hopping back to the National Football League. He's going to generate a ton of interest, of course, with Group of 5, but also with Power 5, especially considering, what he's done at UCLA. Somebody is really going to be interested in Chip Kelly. And that's not going to be good news for some of the coaches out there that are on the bubble. There's multiple bubble spots, and I'd like these people that I'm going to mention, but these are bubble jobs. And Chip Kelly, I'm telling you guys that West Virginia is a possible bubble job. I'm telling you guys that Arkansas for sure is totally like 50-50 on whether Pittman's going to be back. And Pittman was a great guy. He took over for Chad Morris. They had a 9-win season. The program was headed pretty good with Barry Odom. Then the defense started to slip. Then Kendall Briles ended up getting hired at TCU. And then Dan Enos was a disastrous hire on offense. And now, Sam Pittman's coming off back-to-back, real losing seasons here at Arkansas. And people are wondering if the offensive line supposed to be his forte. He's not doing his job, really. And then Neil Brown, or he's not doing his job. He's not coaching at the elite of the elite. And he doesn't have Arkansas headed in a direction that is, upwards, or else he wouldn't even be in discussion for a hot seat. And then Neil Brown really hasn't gotten anything done at West Virginia, but this year he's bounced back. The defense looks better. They did get housed at Oklahoma. But again, if Chip Kelly's out there, I do think Chip Kelly probably edges Neil Brown out. He just does in terms of his resume and things of that nature. So West Virginia and a new athletic director, that's the key. A new athletic director might be making that decision as well. So that's the Chip Kelly conversation. I don't believe it's in the best interest of UCLA to fire him. And I kind of like the unknown, or I like sometimes making a change if it doesn't work out. But this one is just really surprising.